Now I want to talk about that D-backs win against the Milwaukee Brewers because currently, if you guys can believe this, the D-backs sit not just atop of the NL West standings, but atop the mountaintop of the National League standings, the entire league conference, whatever you want to call it. And listen, I know it's early. I'm a guy that likes to ride the emotional roller coaster. I'm not trying to get too high on the D-backs so far because it's way early in the season. It's a way small sample size. And when I get hyped about the D-backs starting 7-4 and taking down, I mean, they haven't taken down the Brewers yet, but they split the series against the Padres, whooped the Dodgers overall in the season series up until this point, won the first game against the Brewers. It's like I'm hyped. I'm happy for the D-backs. I'm happy to see them win and take down good teams to start the season. Like, this has been a really tough schedule to start the season. And I'm like, look at the D-backs, a non-playoff team from last year. Look at how they're starting the season. And so many people in my life want to poo-poo on my parade. Maybe it's because they're jealous and their team's at the bottom of the standings. And the only argument that they have right now is that there's 150 more games, which I can't deny. Still a lot more baseball to be played, many more games to be played. And so I'm not going to get too high on the D-backs, but man, it feels good to watch a team take down good teams right now. And also, like we've been talking with Sully Baseball, it's never too early to win games at the end of the season, despite playing 162 games. Every time you look at the standings at the end of the season, guess what? Whether it's the wild card, division standings, it always comes down to what? One or two games, maybe a half game. It always comes down to the final games of the season. You play all these games, and at the end, every win still matters. And if you're trying to tell me wins at the beginning of the season don't matter, then you're crazy because guess what? Winning the season series up until this point against the Dodgers matters. You don't play them again until August. Who knows what that would have on the implications of the season by that point in the standings because the D-backs have this head start in the NL West standings. So D-backs, another great win last night. At the time of you guys are hearing this last night, it's 11 p.m. as I'm recording this. So maybe I should make a wish, or maybe the D-back are already granted it by winning another game against the Brewers. I think my wish is probably I don't even need a World Series. A D-backs wild card berth, division, win the division, make the playoffs. I don't even care if you lose in the first round. Like a D-backs playoff berth would be a pretty nice wish to be granted. But let's talk about this D-backs victory against the Brew Crew. I feel like I sound terrible whenever I say the Brewers. Against the Brew Crew because Milwaukee so far, like we just discussed, really good team. They coming into this game was second behind Tampa Bay for the best record in baseball. And the D-backs really, from a pitching standpoint, really dominated this game. And I really want to do quickly, we're not going to do the good and bad. I'm just going to talk about the good from this game, give you three quick goods from this game. First quick good, Zac Gallen looked back. Zac Gallen finally looked like his Cy Young self. Zac Gallen, 7 innings, 3 hits allowed, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. And let me not just tell you the straight statistics, the straight stats with Zac Gallen. The thing that was interesting about Zac Gallen's start is he went away from his fastball. And we've talked about a lot on this podcast about we have to watch Zac Gallen's fastball velocity, make sure it's not concerned because it's been lower this year than it has in years past. And in this game, Zac Gallen he didn't abandon the fastball. He threw 24 fastballs, 25% of his usage was fastball, but he went curveball heavy. He threw 40 curveballs in this game. 42% of his pitches were curveballs. And looking at his stat cast, you saw in the first game of the season, his first start, he threw 45 fastballs to 18 curveballs. In his second start, 32 fastballs to 25 curveballs. So we saw this trend already starting to happen with Zac Gallen, where he started throwing more curveballs as opposed to fastballs. I mean, it wasn't exactly taken over yet in the second start, but it was starting to trend in that direction of maybe getting close to throwing as many curveballs as fastballs. And then in this game, basically 2-to-1 ratio, he throws curveballs to fastballs. And I'm looking at the StatCast right now. I think this is the most curveballs Zac Gallen has ever thrown in a start. I think his previous high was 38. 40 he threw in last night's ball game. So Zac Gallen, the curveball seems to be maybe his new go-to pitch. We'll see if he continues to go to this pitch longer as his main weapon out of his arsenal. Maybe it's due to the fact that he can't find his fastball command right now and can't get that velocity up, or maybe he just feels his curveball so nice and it's so devastating the way it was breaking tonight. Like the way it was snapping off was disgusting. So maybe he's just going to keep riding the curveball because that's his best pitch, or maybe it's due to the fact that his fastball is not looking as good, but it's probably a combination of both. But either way, Zac Gallen looked back last night. My number two thing, Keta Marte is back to being locked in, and Nick Ahmed stays locked in because Keta Marte, 2 more hits, lead off, 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, a walk. Nick Ahmed, 3 for 4. And on the season, Keta Marte now riding a 7-game hit streak. I thought at the beginning of the season, he looked lost at times at the plate, looked very unconfident, but also before the season, one of my big predictions, Keta Marte, bounce back season, and it's 7-game hit streak right now. Keta Marte's numbers are slowly starting to climb on the year. 275 average, 310 OBP, and a 500 slugging. I think you would take those numbers from Keta Marte over the course of a full season. Then Nick Ahmed, he has a hit in every game he's played in except one this season. And his slash line, we went over Geraldo Perdomo's yesterday because Geraldo Perdomo is like an 800 slugging on the season. But Nick Ahmed is not far behind in terms of just insane slash lines because 400 average, 400 OBP, and a 480 slugging. Nick Ahmed has been insane this season. Those two guys have been on fire recently. And the last good that I want to talk about from this game is the bullpen, because the bullpen only had to go 2 innings, but it was perfect. There was no nerves, no anxiety from watching our relievers on the mound last night. And a guy like Scott McGough, he's given us a reason to be anxious at times because he's given up multiple runs and multiple appearances. But last night against the Brew Crew, he came in, got the job done. 1, 2, 3 inning, 1 strike, only had to throw 16 pitches. And then Andrew Chafin in the 9th inning, the sheriff. I was like, is this man going to get an immaculate inning because he looked that dominant? He was just dotting up the edges of the strike zone, and he went 1, 2, 3 with 3 strikeouts as well. Great performance by the Dbacks. Your offense did just enough. Christian Walker had a big home run in that game, but Zac Gallen looks back. Your bullpen pitched a perfect last 2 innings. Ketel Marte and Nick Ahmed continue to look good at the plate. You got a Christian Walker home run. And the D-backs sit atop of the National League, at least tied at the top of the National League. Yeah, I'm feeling good right now if I'm a D-backs fan.